Good afternoon, good evening. For some, it might even be good morning. Welcome to Connecting Humans Live. My name is Erik, and in this new edition of Connecting Humans Live, we are moving on or having these raw conversations on the matters that matter, and we are inviting 2 to 3 guests each time who we are challenging to, well, enlighten us, enrich us with what they believe and think about what might be buzzwords, what might be popular topics, so that we can all move into greater actions. And with me in the studio today, of course, I do have my lovely co-host and collaborator, Pascal.
Hey Erik, how is it?
Hello. Very, very good. Thank you so much for being here again. And you're looking very relaxed and smooth today.
Yeah, it was a busy day, so I'm enjoying now the conversation that we have. I'm really looking forward to it. Greetings also from our friend Alexander, who is not here today. I had a talk with him this morning, and I think he was crying the whole day because he cannot be here with us. So virtual greetings because he will look at it later.
He misses us.
Yeah.
But hey, we do, instead of Alexander, for everybody out there, we went international to invite 2
Yes.
lovely ladies, right?
Yeah. Finally, we're 50-50 on the show. That's great.
Today's topics as well, they're pretty hot. I have reached out and I have done some digging and research, and the topics of today is Black Lives Matter, or is it All Lives Matter? Gender equality, or is it gender equity? We will dive into those because yes, we still need to talk about these topics. They're not done with yet. And to do so, we invited all the way from the Netherlands is a lady. Her name means hope, if I have done the research right. And she is on a personal mission to give hope to many, many others. And I would like to introduce her with a little quote that she has been saying. We're in the midst of the biggest leadership crisis we've faced in decades. To shape the future that is needed in our world, I'm convinced that feminine leadership is needed now more than ever. Please welcome Asha Lalai.
Thank you. Thank you, Erik.
No, my pleasure.
Asha,
So
welcome.
let me see here. Is that hope? Is hope?
This is hope.
It is hope.
Yes.
In which language?
Oh, now she's frozen.
So roots are in India. I'm frozen. Hope is frozen. Frozen hope. I'm back again.
You frozen. You're back again.
Okay, frozen hope. Yeah, it's from India. So my roots are from India, and in Sanskrit, Asha means hope.
Nice. Okay, let's spread some hope today. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is such a nice name. You know, when you're finding out the backgrounds of people, then you go, oh.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And I truly appreciate to join you in this conversation.
Nice. Let's move on because we have one more lady with us and she's all the way on the other side of the pond. And if I introduced Asha with the word hope in her quote, I would like to introduce this lady with a quote that not she said, but someone else said that about her. It was saying this: Kelly's advocacy for women and her gift of giving shines through in everything she does. She's out there every day, authentically helping women and men find their strength and become strong leaders. Well, you might figure out her name by now. Without further ado, I invite Kelly Merbler.
Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here.
The same, and we still hear you very, very well. Awesome to having you here as well.
Thank you so much. It's only 2 o'clock in the afternoon here in America. I'm in Florida, so I haven't gotten to the wine yet and the dinner, but I'm enjoying Asha's beautiful setting there with the candle.
I promised a candlelight dinner, so it's here.
It's beautiful. I've got coffee right now.
I think, Pascal, you're also having coffee.
No, it's not coffee. It's tea. It's tea. So tonight I switched this week to reducing alcohol. So and I cannot break the promises. So
Okay.
T is also okay.
We're about to kick off, but before we do, I would really love to highlight and bring the attention to the man who's managing all the comments and the commentaries and all the production style in the studio with us, and this is Mr. Andreas.
Hi everyone, forgot about the mic. So yeah, just a quick one. I'm Andreas. I'm from Australia, currently living in Germany, and my goal here is to keep the chat informed and just bring a little bit more life to the conversations that we're going to have today. And I'm actually having Glühwein, mulled wine in English, because you can get that in Germany. Right?
Well, it's October time, so Glühwein it is.
Yeah.
All right, Andreas, I am moving you over to the studio right now, taking care of all the comments coming in. Thank you so much. And over to all of you coming in and seeing that we have Alexander. He's with us in the comments.
Yes.
Rudolph, Natalie, Janet, Gould, and we do have Magdalena, we have Brian, we have many, many people with us. Thank you for joining us. And the topics today, we are sharing it from the heart. It's real and raw. We are really encouraging everyone to join in, ask the questions and so forth as well. And as we begin, I would just like to open with the first topic, which will be Black Lives Matter, or is it All Lives Matter? And as I open with that, I would like to share a statement that I've heard. So during the time as I was preparing for this session, I was sitting in on different webinars and I was reaching what was out there. And I would like to share some of this to guide our conversation today, if that's okay with everybody.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. First of all, though, and here comes the one that I kind of I was very surprised about when I heard that one. It says, Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. And it says, a Black woman is the most discriminated person today. What is your thought on that? Asha and then Kelly.
Oh my gosh, that's a huge question.
But again, it's just about sharing your thought and your opinion on it.
I think it always is about your own perspective on things. Like, I'm a Black woman and I don't feel discriminated at all. So when I'm with my white friends, they think I'm one of them. And when I'm with my Black friends, they think I'm one of them. So
you do not really feel that you can relate to that statement?
I don't no, personally no, but okay. My eyes are open and I see what's happening in the world. And I'm not.
So what do you think the people, when the one who said that, what do you think that person means, wants to bring up to the surface with that statement?
I think she or he is addressing like a more bigger question, because I think that this Black Lives versus about black, white, or blue issues. It's an issue about humanity. So that's how I see it. I don't see it as a black, white, or blue issue.
Do you remember, there's Kelly, I'm gonna come over to you. Kelly, do you know who said this? Because it's actually a pretty famous and popular and like well-spoken man who has said it.
I don't know exactly. I have a few guesses, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. It was actually Barack Obama who said that in one of his speeches about humanity and discrimination and inequality. And he referred to that and said it was like a black woman is the most discriminated person in today's society. And talking about it, obviously he had a huge context in it and a really point with it. But now knowing that, and as Asha just mentioned, this thing of talking about humanity, how do you relate to that statement?
It's a very tough question, and I do hear what Ash is saying. I think you have to look at who is saying it. We have to meet people where they're at, because it depends on who you're asking as well. And I will be very honest, I have really learned a lot about my lack of awareness over the past 6 months on this topic, where I had no idea that there was unconscious bias within me around this topic until I really started listening. And so I say that with grace and true humility, because there are some people that believe that Black women are the most discriminated, and then some Black women will say absolutely not. They don't believe that. So there's different perspectives, and it's really just understanding that you honor and value the different perspectives in this world.
And you just brought something beautiful to the table here, because you just said, you know, during the last 6 months, I hadn't even noticed that I didn't pay attention to it that much. And that on its own, I'm gonna come to Pascal right now, actually. You know, we're sitting here, and also I remember how many conversations have been about how we in Europe are watching America deal with their shit, as I've heard people say, right? But really, is it really watch America deal with their shit? And referring to connecting that to what Kelly brought to the table, I wasn't aware, now I'm aware, and now I can act. Pascal, how do you relate to this?
Well, yeah, it's a big topic, of course, and the one of the answers that I can give from my point of view is that I know that I don't know. That's of course a big answer from a way bigger person, but that's actually it, because it's so individual, and it's always the truth from everybody else. But when you go a little bit on the meta layer, and you see where tendencies go, every time when someone feels superior to somebody else, that can have an effect on us all, because we are all connected. So it is not America and their shit, because maybe they solve it on some kind of thing, and suddenly it's America against somebody else, and then this pattern is going to replicate itself everywhere. So we have to go to make its way to more people conscious. I think that we're all connected, we're all on the same level. So that's for me very important. And if you are as Kelly or as Pascal, I was also not completely aware of that, because it's not my reality. It is not my reality. I have a lot of Black friends, a lot of friends here, but they live also here. And it's not that we talk too much about that. So it is not my reality. It's not in my daily life. And then I had some talks with somebody where Asha brought me in contact with Abraham, and he was suddenly talking about his daily life in America. And I was like, whoa, okay. Okay, that's a
complete different story, right?
It's grounding. It's bringing you to the ground again.
Yeah.
And
so what I'm hearing then here is that even just by bringing this up to the surface as we do right now, it connects us by being able to bring it up to the surface and increasing our awareness of topics that we weren't aware of.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And in many ways, I remember that during this discussion about Black Lives Matter, something really hit me. Like, I'm in the Netherlands, and often I hear, "Oh, you're in the Netherlands. You speak Dutch very well." And I was like, because of this whole conversation about Black Lives Matter, I started to understand that there is an underlying perspective about me. You're a Black woman, probably your Dutch will be like not good, right? But I always saw it as a compliment, and now I see it as there's something underneath this compliment, and that it's a dominant, how to say it, maybe a dominant consciousness of that a black woman like me doesn't speak Dutch very well.
Yeah.
It's wrong. So I just proved them that their perspective on this topic is wrong.
Yeah. There's a very strong quote that I like from Martin Luther King when he said that we are not here to defeat the white man. We're here to win his love and understanding. And I believe there's a lot in that, especially in the last part, to gain his understanding. That's where it starts. And I would like to, Kelly, you're working a lot in leadership coaching and leadership. Where do you see this in leadership? And I will come back to comment here. Here's a comment who says like, Black Lives Matter is the starting point. This is an accurate statement because Black lives do matter. And the point is that we might have been ignorant towards that for a little bit. How do you see this in leadership, and how does that apply in leadership?
Oh my goodness. There's so many angles to this because it is such a deep topic that I've really been discovering over the past 6 months and really just learning all I didn't know. When it comes to leadership, I mean, everything, as my mentor, John Maxwell said, everything rises and falls on leadership. And when you begin with the intent to not just hear, but listen with the intent to understand where people are really at, and that's why I say meet people where they're at, there is a lot of unconscious bias that happens. And I'm in the mecca of it. Like the cultural crisis in America that we are experiencing has just blown up this year. And as far as leadership, the discussions that I've been having with leaders and people that are mentoring me in this area is we just don't see sometimes what we're doing, even unintentionally, because we're not asking the questions and involving multiple genders and race and different perspectives in the conversations that we're having in the boardrooms. And so we're getting one-sided perspectives instead of bringing everybody into the conversation and not hearing the points of view from where people sit. That's the problem. And so until leaders and corporate situations are going to bring in all perspectives and even the thought process, then we're kind of stuck.
Definitely. And this reminds me about what Katie said last week when she referred to this statement of like-minded people. And as I'm hearing you saying right now, and I would like to hear Asha, when it comes to diversity and bringing different perspectives on things, and considering that you did state that we are in the midst of the biggest leadership crisis we've faced in decades. To shape the future that is needed in our world, I'm convinced that feminine leadership is needed now more than ever. Why?
Why? Because feminine leadership brings something else to the table. It brings something else. And I think it's really important that we change the game that's decided by masculine leadership. Yeah, that's why.
Okay, that is why. And you just also talked about the different perspectives. We just talked about it, and I believe that comes in here too. Allowing for different, proactively inviting different perspectives. Maybe it's the better way of approaching this.
I think we all know, like, no country, no organization can reach its full potential without the full participation. And right now, we are saying we cannot move forward together if we continue to disadvantage women. But to be honest, I would like to say, let's rise above the gender issue, because I don't think it's about women and men. I think it's about feminine and masculine, and that's in all of us. I have a feminine side, I have a masculine side. You do, Pascal, Kelly. That's how I see it. So let's rise above the gender issue, and let's talk about how can we balance the feminine and the masculine in all of us. That's how I see it.
Wonderful. And this is when we come into this point: Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. Yes, I would say, of course, there's two strong statements, and they both have to be there to add the awareness to one, and also without diluting or anything to the other one. And it's like, yes, we have been focusing on maybe other things for a while, so now let's come together about the things that really, really matter. And in the end, all lives matter. They really, really do. That's what I really believe in. It's just that we haven't paid attention to some topics right now. So let's rise above the gender, so to say. And I would love to, with that, I would love to share another, let me say, another statement that I've heard. And now we're talking a little bit more about women, and in a webinar, there was a woman who was the expert in this webinar, and she said that women lack self-esteem and confidence compared to men. What is your reflection on that one?
I do, in the work that I do, which I do a lot of coaching, and so I coach both men and women. So I can definitely tell you from my experience and from my own personal experience, I do think both face lack of confidence in different areas, but I do see it more often in women. I do see that we really internalize a lot of things. Are we good enough? Are we able to apply for that job if we're missing some of the skills? Where I've read things that men will typically apply for it if they have, you know, half the skills, they'll still go for it. But women will be hesitant if they don't have as many of the skills. So there's that confidence that lacks. As far as confidence as well, I think women really struggle with their own identity. And I think we get lost, and I'm speaking from my own experience and other women I know out there, we get lost in our career and the identity that our resume gives us. And so when we look to maybe reinvent or make a change, our confidence is compromised because we don't even know who we are anymore. And so I do see women really struggle with the confidence issue. And that's why I truly believe that women, we see it, and so we try to help each other through that process. But I mean, men struggle with things as well when it comes to like competition. I mean, that's real. I do strengths coaching, so I'm a strengths advocate, and I understand women are more prone to having a strength that's called includer, that's more about including people and bringing them into the conversation and empathy. And men are more prone to having a strength called competition, where they like the thrill of the win and the confidence that goes with that. So there's some interesting science behind how people are wired and the differences in men and women as well.
Okay. I would like to turn the focus to the audience a little bit on that question as well, to see what do you think on what just Kelly said, and the question itself, or it's not actually not a question, it's a statement where it said that women lack self-esteem and confidence compared to men. And that seems to be a more common thing than anything else. What do you think? Do you think that can you relate to it? So it may let's not make it about right or wrong. Let's more focus on, can you relate to it? Have you experienced it? Can you see it around you a lot or not? But Pascal, being the man in the room.
Yeah, I want to challenge the ladies a little bit, because how can I say it now? I think the whole issue that we have is that there is a division in every one of us, and we learn that, and the solution will be to be whole, to become whole again, as a person, as a team, as a whatever, as a country, as a planet, whatever it is, to acknowledge that we have actually everything in us. So female, masculine, female, male, whatever, but also everything else. As long as we don't work on these things, and also work on the things where we have to work, so it's called shadow work or however you call it, that we don't ignore these things, so that we are also going into that, and that it starts with us, with every person on its own, on his and her own, then it will be still a thing where it will be always us against them, or me against you, or always these against, this versus. That's always what I see. Then you see, then okay, now it is, and people don't pay attention too much on the details. For example, you said Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter. Well, that's the same, because it's not said only Black Lives Matter. It's the same, but people don't look at it. It's just a way of perspective, of seeing at things. It's the same with self-confidence in women. I think even, and sorry to say it, but I saw that 𝗙𝗂𝗲𝗀𝗃 is in the audience. She's a neuroscientist. Maybe she can enlighten us. I also think that depending on neuroplasticity, even female learn in very young age to think in a specific way and to become in a certain way, because your brain is going to wire like this. And then later on, we're going to say, yeah, women are wired differently than men. Well, maybe we learned that when we were young. We don't know. I think we're more similar than we think, or more united than we think. But on our way of coming to this planet, then we start to learn things, take it for granted, and then over all these years. So I'm also now not the youngest anymore. Over all these years, you learn to unlearn a lot of things, and to get the layers back to who you really are. And that's then the cycle. And maybe we all have to do that. And yeah, that's what I have to challenge here a little, that we don't start to balance. No, how we go that. You know what I think is, we have to find the balance again in almost everything. We're out of balance in almost everything, what I see on the planet, and also in every team and whatever. We have to find balance again. Otherwise, we go from one extreme, which was masculine or white or whatever you call it. We go to the other extreme, on the other side of the, how you say that? On the, you know what I mean?
You just tip the scale over to the other side.
The scale, you get it on the other side, instead of coming back in the middle and finding that. And there we have to talk a lot. We have to connect a lot. This is why also this is so appreciated, that we have all these expertise here and these things.
There's a comment from the audience. Tom, he has a brilliant comment there, where he actually says that, I think women show confidence in different manner than men. Sadly, the current leadership roles ask for more masculine traits rather than feminine ones. And that last one, I remember I had a conversation yesterday with Simone Heng about what is popular right now in terms of what learning in the B2B arena in Asia versus Europe, for instance. Asha and Kelly, just reading the last part, current leadership roles, or say in business, are we asking for more masculine traits than feminine ones?
It depends which organization.
But what do you see? If you say, like, if you just look, what do you see?
Yeah, again, it depends. It really depends, because some organizations, and also even some governments, are really making a difference. So, for example, you do some research on the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he's addressing this gender equality really, really in his complete government in all sectors. So yeah, and I see some organizations still struggling, like chasing profits and so on, and they will hire more people, let's say more people with the masculine traits, and the organizations who really knows that it's more about the soft skill, they will hire more people with more feminine traits.
Okay.
And I try to rise above the men and women and talk about, like Tom is saying, feminine and masculine traits, because you can hire women and still she can still lacks feminine traits.
Yeah. Yeah, of own experience, I do have a lot of experience from that, working in the corporate up in the north of Europe, so to say. And Kelly, what do you feel there about the same thing? Current leadership roles, you also, I mean, again, that's what you're spending a lot of your work. What are you seeing in the US?
I see a lot of leaders that look to hire someone like themselves. And I made that mistake myself for many years, thinking, oh, it'd be nice to have more of me here. That was the wrong approach. And I think it's just human nature. We're attracted to others like us, but we don't see the value in people that are very different than us when we bring them into the leadership roles, because they bring, going back to that perspective originally talked about, they bring a different lens that they see things through. Now, I am seeing a lot more of organizations, I spent 20 years in recruiting, so I'm still very much in touch with that. And a lot of my clients will ask me, who do you know for this position? And I'll ask them, what do you want in this leadership role? And it depends on who's asking, like Gosh just said. But a lot of times I am getting more requests for the softer skills, which I love seeing that, because I think organizations are starting to see, especially now that we're in COVID and the experience that this has changed for all of us, they're seeing how important that leadership is within the organization. And this is why I think coaching is up too, because they're realizing these leaders need the softer skills that they were never developed or given the development around. So I'm seeing an increase in it, but it's definitely not to the level where it needs to be. A lot of it is still, what does the resume read like? What's the experience, the years? And I want someone that can drive the bottom line. And I think we need more of the soft skills at the top.
I want to show you now, because I just got a statistic from the World Economic Forum, which I want to share with you. I shared it with the team before we got on here, but here it is, and it's showing the top 10 skills for 2025. And let me see if I can zoom that in for you. Thing here is that, can you see that working with people, only 1 out of the 10 skills that they have forecasted are reflecting the need for having, well, people skills in a way. What are you thinking about that? Do you see that right there?
Yes. I will say, see, this is a very interesting stat for me, because I look at how the income and the flow of generations are changing. And so by 2025, according to a Gallup survey, 75% of our workforce will be the millennial generation. And if that is what is coming in, what is most important to that generation? And the research shows it's development, coaching, and the emotional intelligence needs that they have. And so if we are building on that workforce, we better be looking at the leaders we're building to run the companies that are going to be closely working with the incoming workforce if they want to be able to lead effectively. And what is missing, I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about this, is that connection that leaders are lacking. And it's not just about KPIs. It's about KPIs that I call not key performance indicators. It's what keeps people inspired are KPIs.
Mhm.
And you need soft skills with accountability. You need both in order to be effective.
Yep, we need to. Yep, okay, good. I'm gonna leave that one quote right there. Mic drop. Pascal.
Yeah, well, if I can add something, when I look at this analysis or this whatever it is, my question would be, who made it? That would be the first, because we all know Plato's cave. Huh? When you're not aware of something, you don't see it. The Indians didn't see the ships of Columbus because they were not aware that something like this exists. So that's then their reality, maybe, because there are also other researches done. Huh? When you look at the book from Harvard professor Rasmus Hougaard, The Mind of Leader. He says there are three things. And he made the research with 35,000 organizations, but he didn't ask the leaders. He asked the employees, what do they expect from a leader? And they said three traits. It's mindfulness, it's selflessness, and it's compassion.
Okay.
So being present, being there for others, but wise also, and then also to put yourself not above other people. And when I hear them that's a little bit different than what I see in the top 10. It depends a little bit how you imagine also the world, I think. And the World Economic Forum is World Economic Forum. So I think it depends on who you ask. I'm pretty sure that's ask here the people. They have already a different view on it.
Asking the audience. I mean, 1 out of top 10 skills, 1 out of the top 10 skills will be people oriented. What do you feel and think about that? When I saw it, I was sending it to you straight away, Pascal, because I was really like, really? Is this really? I don't know.
That's poor leadership, to be honest. I think it's poor leadership. Yeah. And I think it's also because, let's say it differently. Like an organization, if you look at it as a game, it's designed by men for men. It's like, what do you have in the US? Like America Ninja Warrior, for example. It's a game designed by men for men. So only men can win, because it's about who is the strongest, who have the biggest muscles, and so on. But what if you change the game and make it so women can also win? So it's not about who is the most muscles, but more about who is the most flexible, for example, or who is most compassionful. So I think it's really important that leaders are not only willing to invite more feminine traits in their organization, but they are also willing to change the game in an organization, to change the culture. And that's like long-term, you need a long-term vision to do this. And I think in the time that we live in now, most people are living in fear, and fear is not helping you with this long-term vision. Fear is like paralyzing you. Stick where you are, don't move, and just do what's necessary, but not what's really important. So,
if I may add something, Erik, just shortly, because Asha said something really important when you relate that to the top 10. It depends on what these people that asked the question, what they envisioned, how the future should look like. And then they ask certain questions so that this is also going to be the result. So what are they envisioning of the future? So it's the same with it's the same with that's what you said, Erik, today. Huh? You had Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as an example. And what did he say? He envisioned he didn't say, oh, I envision that black people are treated equally. No, he said, I envision that blacks and whites can play together on the playground. I see that. That's my vision that I have for the future. This is why I think, I don't know how many, I think it was over 30% of the people on the march to Washington, they were white people, because they were also envisioning this. They said, oh, I also like that. I see it. And as long as we have people that envision more or less the same thing that has been done already, just in a different color, then we will have the same results and nothing will evolve, and then we get the same results. And maybe that's then where Albert Einstein was right when he said, doing the whole time the same things and expecting different results. Well, maybe that's a sign for insanity, and there we have to work on. I'm convinced on this. So these talks are even more needed.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, let's be a bit more concrete here, because we've been reflecting on a couple of statements out there. I have a couple of questions right now that I would just love to throw at you, kind of out of the blue, and try to just be as concrete as possible with what do you think needs to happen here to make the change happen. That's what we are sitting here for in the essence, right? So, and if the audience now, please let us know. Do you have a question for Pascal, Kelly, or Asha? Let us know. Just write your name and ask your question, your reflection, so forth. We're coming towards the end of this session here, so let us know. And if you, Kelly, Asha, Pascal also, if you have any questions that you would like to throw to the audience, let's do it. The first question I have here is a question that came up in one of the webinars I was in. And it was really referring to that, well, the hardest part of change is to recognize that we need change. And right now, I'm speaking from my own opinion, I believe that there's a lot of people sitting in positions and they are very comfortable in. They are serving them, they are beneficial. So why on earth would they start looking at doing something different? Question to you and to everyone in the audience. What would you like to see people do who are sitting in these positions, who are sitting there having a beneficial life? What would you like them to start doing, Asha?
You go to start.
We're starting with you, yeah.
Is there a friendly way to say it?
It's a raw conversation, Asha. It's okay.
Okay. I think again, let's change the game, right? So let's change the story. I would love to see people who are sitting in those positions, that they increase their awareness, that they wake up and that they see that the story of separation is not serving them anymore. It's not serving them. It's not serving their employees. It's not serving their customers. It's not serving the world. It's not serving humanity. It's not serving anyone.
So what would you like them to do, practically speaking, like right now?
Wake them up.
Okay, wake up.
Yes, wake them up.
All right, over to Kelly. What would you like to do? So Asha is waking them up. Kelly, what would you like them to do?
A lot of things, honestly, and these are not complicated things. It's the willingness to do them is the issue. And if someone is in an influential position that people are influenced by, then use your influence to create action. So it drives me nuts when people say they want to make a change. James Allen said this quote, we're always anxious to improve our circumstances, but unwilling to improve ourselves, and therefore we remain bound. And so if we want to improve, we've got to get up and take action. Action is traction. So it would be action. It would be listen more. I don't think enough people in leadership listen with the intent to understand. Ask more questions. I don't think sometimes asking questions is done enough. Unfortunately, we speak more than we listen. And so all of those things would be things I'd love to see, especially someone that's in an influence. To have a lot of people listen in.
Listen. So I'm hearing them wake up, listen proactively, really listen to understand and ask more questions. That's what you would love people who, well, they're sitting in a comfortable position right now, but being comfortable doesn't mean that I cannot change. So let's ask more questions and start listening a bit more.
And waking up,
sorry.
If I may add something, because it's not like waking up and just by pushing people. It's, for me, it's like waking up by education. Because through education comes knowledge, right? And through knowledge comes understanding. And through understanding comes compassion. And then comes love, peace, and freedom. So it all starts with waking up, educate people so they can understand. And if you can understand, you will act differently, because you don't know what you don't know. But as soon as you know, you will start acting differently. And that's what I see, and that's what I hope.
And now you're really speaking my mind in terms of why this Connecting Humans Live is here, why I'm doing what I'm doing, why Pascal is here, why even you are here, why this session is here, is to invite people who we believe do not hold back on speaking up what you believe in. That's the first thing that I at least feel. No, actually, I would take that back. Because yes, Kelly, you're right. We gotta listen to understand, and we will also have to speak up to share. Pascal, what do you feel has to happen? What would you like people to start doing?
Well, I'm connecting to what, of course, you guys said. My 6 words, my personal 6 words, is wake up, grow up, show up. The three steps for me, and that's relating to what I hear right now. But I would ask the leaders. I would first have a conversation with these people, and not asking them, okay, what do you envision for the future? But if they are aware of the pain that is, and if they say no, everything is fine, then I would invite them to have the direct experience, because we're still human people, we're still human, and we can then relate to this. This is really, and then something can change, because then they will start to be willing to do that. And and it's maybe not really giving you I have now, and I say hello to all the people in the audience from my classes in Ghana. Nice that you're here. But I was not aware of that they have not real access to the internet world. That they still struggle with connection and so on. So we had this bright idea, we do some classes over there to help, and then we struggle on these basic things. And that was making me realize that there is a huge pain, and not pain, but you know what I mean, a huge thing where we have to do something, and I was not aware of that. That put me in a direct experience where I then started to do something, and we found some nice people that want to help us with addressing this, and it's the same for the other people. Get again into the direct experience, and that would be something. Out of the comfort zone, again, getting out of the comfort zone into that experience. And then I believe in the goodness of man, to be honest. That when they do the direct experience, that they say, okay, not only something has to change, but also I have to change. So what Kelly was saying, exactly.
To the audience, what would you like people who are sitting in a comfortable position, they are not aware, but what would you like people to start doing more of to be able to apply this change and move forward as we can do it together? What would you love people, even yourself perhaps, start doing more of that you're not doing? Please inspire us, enlighten us, share your tip, and I will bring it up towards the end of the session. I have one more question though. Gender equality. Gender equality, we've been talking about it for a long time. I've been involved with the European Institute of Gender Equality, and we have showed how painfully slowly Europe as a whole has been increasing and done anything really to improve this. But I got super inspired. Pascal, you showed me that picture that unfortunately I can't share now, of gender equality or gender equity. Starting with Kelly this time. I heard a statement today that we should stop giving away all our power. We have to start taking actions, and even statements such as women have low self-esteem and lack confidence compared to men. What do you really feel like? Isn't that even a little dangerous to walk around thinking? If, let's say, being a woman, let's say, being a black man, if I'm walking around thinking that to myself, am I then giving away my power, or am I taking the responsibility that I have? That's the first thing there. And then apply that to gender equality or gender equity. Where would you like to see more focus?
I've been reading a lot about this lately, and there was something I read recently. I think it was in a journal called Pipeline, but if equality equals the end goal, then equity is the means to get to the goal. We need both. But that truly means that we all don't have to think the same. It's just we have to include each other more. This is something that kind of really woke me up recently when it came to equity and inclusion, is in order to, inviting me to the dance is the first step. This is what Bishop T.G. Jakes said, I remember. Inviting me to the dance is the first step. So invite me in. But asking me to dance is what it really is about, is not just bringing me in because I'm a woman and you just want to fill the void. Yeah. It's really valuing what I have to say and wanting to understand why I feel that way. So that's truly what I see, and all that I've been learning and being involved in conversations where the true problem is we're filling vacancies, for example, to check the box, but we aren't filling it for the right reasons to actually do something with it. We want to look good, but peel that back and what's really behind the motive there. And so that's where I have the problem. And that's where I'm seeing that the big change needs to happen, is we've got, in order to get to equality, that's what we want, you got to have equity in proportion to get there.
I found the picture.
Yeah, and I love it, Kelly. To be honest, what you just said, I love it. That's something what we have to bring over. And also the thought that has to come from a place of not patronizing, but the intention of inclusion. So to include, I really love it. That's something really, really strong. We still have a long way to go, but let's go there. That's really great.
We do that by having these conversations. Like, we're all different on this panel. I mean, look at the diversity on this panel. And that's the key, is we're talking with many different perspectives of where we all come from. And so that's what's missing, is they're not activating on asking more of those questions and involving the different perspectives. Involving is the key.
Involving is the key. Go ahead.
Erik, just because I want to give you also a little hope in that, because we're already on the way, but we have still a long way to go until equality and stuff. But people get aware of, so the first step of wake up is happening. That's already a good part. And even maybe to grow up, I found an article in a newspaper, and just to read it, it's very short. It's about a sexist comment. So that is my name is Julian Speyer. I'm 12 years old, and I would like to inform you of how offended and disappointed I am by the announcer of the 4th of July parade's comment about the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. The announcer labeled the Boy Scouts the future leaders of America, and he said the Girl Scouts were just having fun. I found the comment very sexist and patronizing. I would appreciate if you would help me to let other people know how much this kind of things happens and how bad it is. I feel it is an insult to both girls and women of all ages, this kind of things happen way too much, and it's not okay. If it is not okay. I have always been taught that if you think something is unjust, change it. So this is how I'm making a change. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope that you can help me. And I don't say where it's from. So that's from a 12-year-old, and that can already give you a little hope that at least on the wake-up part, women are already doing a very good job.
Oh, that's from a 12-year-old who wrote that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It means that it has really spread. It really has. Asha, what do you feel about the whole topic about equality versus equity? What needs to come, say, first? Where's the focus?
I'm clueless, so let me think about this. I love the way Kelly mentioned it, the metaphor of dancing, inviting someone to dance. I would like to even to bring it a step further. So if you invite a woman to dance, stop stepping on my toes when I start to lead. And I think that's what's happening, that we invite people, women to come to the dance, we invite them on the dance floor, but when they start to lead, the more masculine a man starts to dancing, or we say, okay, please. That for now. During this talk, I wrote something down about the topic of Black Lives Matter, and it's like I just wrote it inspirational, and if it's okay, I would love to share it.
Go ahead.
Yes, it just came out of my pen, so
go ahead. Let us hear it. Yeah,
it's about the topic of Black Lives Matter. How my brothers and sisters are killed is wrong. Leaving families in a state where they feel the anxiety of wondering what tomorrow may bring or may not bring is wrong. And I'm praying that we learn something from this. I believe this is the responsibility for all of us. And my wish is for you that we can live without fear, without discrimination, by not simply tolerating our neighbor, but striving to understand one another. And then we all will live in a more just society for humanity. I don't know where this comes from, but it's on my paper.
Very nice, Asha. Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. Very nice. And it's a nice, beautiful closing here, because this is connecting humans' life. I have been asked, I have been tried to be persuaded by many that I should be spending more time speaking about Black people, about women, etc., etc. But for me, this is all about what you're just sharing towards the end. Humanity. Our way of being together, living together in the future. And I was at the football pitch last Saturday, and I saw two young boys, one maybe 4, another 5. They were playing by the side while the father was playing football. And I was sitting there waiting for my turn to enter the pitch. And out of the blue, there was a question comes to my mind. It said, why are you doing what you're doing? And I looked at the boys and I knew it. Frankly, I'm not doing this so that you, Asha, or Kelly, or Pascal, or Mette, or Danielle, or Gould can have an amazing life. It's part of it. But I'm doing it so that those two boys right there don't have to grow up into this mesmerized bullshit type of stuff that we're living right now. I'm being very raw. I would love them to grow up and in a world, and I would love them to live in a world where we have created a path for them to be living in a more wonderful and more peaceful and in a more loving and in a more harmonic way than we are doing right now. And when they are having children or whoever they are passing on their baton to, that they can live an even greater life, right? That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I was sitting there on the bench and just had this little reflection. And as you just said there, Asha, it's for the humanity right now. It is for humanity.
It's for
So
you.
as an ending note from all the three of you, what would you love to leave the audience with? As in, what would you like them to reflect on and leaving this conversation right now? There's one thing that you would love them to reflect on. And this time I would like to start with Pascal. What would you love them to reflect on?
That's a good one. What would I love to reflect on? Well, it's actually about perception is not reality. That's it.
Okay.
Just reflect on what we all said the whole time. Your perception is not reality. And that's it.
And what about Kelly?
Lead with love. That's how I live my life. Just lead with your heart and love the human race.
Wonderful. Lead with love. And Asha?
Humanity is in pain, and she's crying. Don't close your ears, don't close your eyes. Wake up, open up, show up, and help yourself and other people to change the story of separation into a story of love, peace, freedom, just compassion, and so on. That's what I would love to share.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just return the favor, is there anyone, like starting with Kelly here, you do your work, you have everything going on right now, and I don't know, I can imagine things are tough also over at your time of the place of the world. Is there anything that you have that you're offering to the world right now? Courses, classes, anything?
Well, my true passion is helping people discover their strengths and what they already have within them. So I'm always doing courses and coaching around discovering strengths and the Strength Finder model. So I just love to help people find their inner awesomeness and who you already are and the identity that you've always had. So that's what I love doing, and I'm always doing that if I can help anyone out there.
Where can they find you?
LinkedIn for sure. That is definitely my spot. But then my website is 𝗕𝘂𝗄𝐶O.com.
Okay, wonderful. Asha, is there anything that you're doing right now where people can take part of more of your wisdom?
Oh, there is so much I'm doing, but I would love to get people more involved in one of my new projects, and that's helping orphans all around the world.
Wow.
So if you give me the opportunity one day to share more about this project, I would love to share more about this. So helping us to help more orphans, that would be incredible.
How can we get in touch with you?
I will send you the website, and then well, people can see it.
Okay, wonderful.
Just go to my LinkedIn profile, leave me a private message if you want to connect with me. That's perfect.
And Pascal?
Well, I will just leave it there. There are some things that go on, and I see that some of them are in the audience. So we do some nice projects to bring some education. Not education is the wrong word. To bring some experience to the countries of Africa, South America, to the Caribbean islands, and so on and so on, mostly to young people, so that they can be the game changers of the future, and we can help them. It's creating a little time machine, because they have 20 years more to do that. That's it. And if somebody feels intrigued, they can always help in that. And of course, also Asha and the orphans. I saw also that Brian is in the audience. Great. That's also a very, very nice project. They can make and then of course what Kelly said. So actually help the good people to do their work. That would be my. Also Erik, go to his website. He has wonderful classes. I say it now as it is. He has wonderful classes. Help the good people to bring messages into the world. That would be it.
Amazing. We call that an end to today. Everyone in the audience who have been wonderful with us. I see there's a lot of comments. I'm gonna read all those comments after this. Thank you, everyone in the audience. Kelly and Asha, thank you so much for being here and sharing your raw feelings and thoughts on these very big topics. I'm still remembering your first reactions to me when I introduced the topics to you. For now, for ladies and gentlemen, everybody out there, Kelly and Asha, please just stay for a second, and we're gonna say thank you and bye to you in private as well. But for everybody out there, this is Connecting Humans Live. We are coming back next week, and at that point, I believe our dear Alexander is with us as well. We have 2 more big topics coming up, and if you would like to be part as Kelly or Asha, if you know someone who would like to, just send us a message. It would be amazing. But for now, my name is Erik. I'm the founder of Connecting Humans, and this has been a fabulous time to spend with all of you.